Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I see everybody's logging on. I'll close this. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. Hello, hello. I don't mean to look that way, so let me adjust my camera. You guys are going to go for a ride really quick. Just hang on. Bear with me. I need to make this a little bit taller so I don't feel that way. Hi, how are ya? Now I feel better. Now I feel like I'm not. Look at, oh, there's lots of people joining us today. Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I am having a bad hair day and there's no excuse for it. I tried curling and it just didn't want to stay. At least it's not raining, okay? But I tried. I'm baking with my little heater on because it's cold where I'm sitting today. Still letting everybody get logged in. I'm a big group today. I'm gonna leave today as an open forum unless somebody has something specific in general that they want to talk about. I'd be more than happy to address. I know we have some changes going on in our industry that are quite exciting, and they're still evolving. So I'll let that continue to evolve before I get involved and open my big mouth. Anybody have anything they want to talk about here? I clearly want to talk about the credit reporting requirement. Good. Val, take a deep breath. You don't own more than 15 units at one address. So stop worrying about it. That's the way I read it. Got it? We on the same page? I'll read it again, Val, but I'm pretty sure it says units, 15 units, which would mean, in my opinion, at a single parcel. And I know you're having trouble with the credit reporting. Do you have somebody that wants to do it, or are you having trouble with notifying them? Because we need to notify them by April 1st, if I remember correctly. What you got, Val?
Patty, it's 15 units per unit, not total.
Arlene, say it again.
It's 15 units per building. So if you had like a seven unit and an 8 unit, that doesn't count.
Thank you.
It's 15. Yeah, it's 15 in that property.
I read it that way also. We're all reading it the other way, Val. So I'll get clarity and we'll answer that. And I will do that in a very rapid fashion just so we have the clarity. Okay. Sadly, you notified and you had 3 takers. Thank God. I thought I had a house would be a unit. No, a house is not a unit. This counts as 15 units. Aglaform is wrong. I brought it to their attention. They're fixing it. Allie, help me, okay? Because I know you're on top of this, okay? Because I know how many units you have. If you have 15 or more rental properties under one tax bill, meaning a multifamily dwelling, you must report. Is that correct, or allow them to report? Correct? I believe. If you own 20 single family residences, this does not apply to you. Is that correct? That's how I read it.
That's correct.
That's correct. Single family residences don't apply. This is for multifamily dwellings, apartment communities. Okay, everybody's on the same page. Val, you don't have to do this. You opted it. You have 3 takers. Now that you offered it, you have to do it. Damn it. So let me know where you are in the process and I'll help you. I thought I saw something come through from Julia. No, you don't have to tell them if you're exempt.
Hey, Patty, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So I just want to share my experience. Yes, I've been jumping through hoops. I found an oopsie on Agla's form and they're fixing it because it's very convoluted and you can't. I gave it to the tenants and I read it myself and I'm like, well, where are they supposed to opt in and opt out? So they're working on the form. Um,
Okay.
I tried the company that Agla was partnered up with, and I think it's called CredHub. Okay, that didn't work out. Those people, I made numerous calls. They never called me back. So I had to default to IDIQ. They work with Yardy Breeze, which is my software. And we did a virtual inspection of my office to make sure the shredder, tenant files, and all pertinent files were locked up. So we passed that. So I feel like a circus animal because we're jumping from hoop to hoop. Now supposedly I'm at the end stage where Yardy Breeze is going to implement access to IDIQ. And from there, they're going to send me an opening package where I'm supposed to give it to the 2 people out of the 27 that decided to sign up.
Of course.
And yeah, so I have to pay $500 to IDIQ each year. And then the tenants have they have options. From what I've seen from the opening package, they have an option that starts at $5.95 a month and goes all the way up to $19.95 a month. So they have all these options, and the tenant, I give them this QR code, and to those who want to opt in, and then they use that QR code to set up their portal, and this company will report the positive, not the negative. And yeah, where was I going with this? Yeah, and so but after that, that takes me out of the loop because then I just tell them, okay, this new person that's moving into apartment building, they want to sign up, they sign up, but I don't have to get involved. With most of these other go
Here's
ahead.
the huge caveat, okay, Allie?
Yeah.
You also have to notify all your tenants about this annually.
Yes, I know.
So this third-party company that you've hired is handling all of that for you. And what I hear is you found the easy button.
Yes, because the other ones that I the little smaller ones that I interviewed, because after your meeting last week, I did contact CoreLogic, which is our credit reporting company, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
So the other companies it was very time consuming and they required a lot of my attention. So yes, on the back side, it is a good thing.
Hit the easy button.
Yes, it is a good thing because this kind of takes me out of the loop. I just have to do the minimum at this point.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
And Val, I wonder if we could now send your tenants a letter telling them that it's now been brought to your attention that you are not required to participate in this new program, so you may be opting out of it as a landlord. Oh, good language, Patty. Great job. Sorry. Anybody have anything else? Because I want to get to everybody's questions. We'll get to the nitty-gritty today because we got some interesting things going on in this industry.
Patty, I have a question for you.
Sure.
My name is Lisa. I'm out of Downey. And why can't they just ask their accountant or opt in themselves to pay their own?
Because they want to hold our foot to the fire.
I know. But then it's bad too, because yes, it helps them to pay their rent on time, but then that's also an excuse for us to evict them if they're bad tenants.
What's an excuse for you to evict them?
If they don't pay their rent.
Well, if they don't pay their rent, I'm going to evict them anyway. It's not an excuse. I could care less what their credit report says.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that if we do this program and then they start paying their rent, then what's our way to get them out? Is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a convenient way to get them out if they don't pay their rent on time.
Well, if they don't pay their rent on time, we've always been able to do this. The reason they're adapting this system and implementing it is so that the tenants can build their credit history faster for those that are trying to seek positive credit reporting. Make sense? It's an easier way for them to build a positive credit history. What seems to be the problem in the industry is all the landlords are kicking up and fussing because it only reports positive history and not negative history. But what
Right.
nobody is paying attention to is nobody forward thought this 24 months. Okay. So let's talk about that really quick. If we forward think this 24 months, let's pretend that it's 24 months from now. And we just ran a credit report. Doesn't it show us 24-month history of someone's credit history on that credit report? Oh yeah, that's right, Patty, it does. It shows us if they were late on those months or if they didn't pay. So it's going to say positive, positive, and then you may see 3 months where there was no reporting, right? Isn't that
Right.
telling you they didn't pay the rent?
Mhm.
Oh, wait a minute. Once they figure out that we're going to be able to use this system against them, they'll stop implementing it. Watch.
Mhm.
We can't report negative, but we're not stupid. And if we can see that it wasn't reported for 4 months in a row, they probably didn't pay on time.
That's exactly right. One of my tenants mentioned that. He goes, this could hurt me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They didn't, the people in legislation that are making the laws don't have enough forward thinking to think about all the different things that could be coming at them because of what they're changing. And what they're doing is painting a picture for all of us. So we're getting angry and we're stomping our feet and we're like, we don't want to do this. We should all be signing up. We should be praying and signing up all of our tenants. I'm with Val, even on the SFRs, if we're not required to, I want to do it. Think about what we're building for 2 years from now for us to use as a resource. You know that story, if you build it, they will come? And they're building it for us. Don't mean to be a jerk, but come on, you guys, we have half a brain. We can see the other side of the fence. We know how this is going to work. Uh-oh, somebody's yelling at me to let them in. Hang on. I goofed. I really goofed. Hang on. How do I get back to that screen? I don't even know how to get in there. Okay, somebody's like texting me, Patty, let me in. I goofed. There's a bunch of people waiting out there. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I got distracted. Thank you for texting me. I'm sorry I got distracted. We were yip yapping and jaw japping, and I wasn't on the right screen. Yes, I saw a squirrel. I'm getting yelled at for not letting him in. I'm sorry. We were all jaw japping and yip yapping. So we're back now. I'm sorry, squirrel. What was I talking about? We're talking about the credit reporting for tenants and how we see that as a problem and it's an issue, but it's really not a problem and it's not an issue. I lost you guys. There you are. It's not a problem and it's not an issue because we're only going to use that to our advantage. It only helps us. So it's a good thing for us because it will pave the road for us in the future. I promise. There's what I'm trying to look at to see what people are doing. I have someone in a 60-day notice for non-payment who is now claiming she has mold. What you're telling me, Teresa, doesn't make sense. You don't give somebody a 60-day for non-payment of rent. You might give them a 30-day for non-payment of rent if they're federally funded on either side of the fence. So please explain to me, did they get a 60-day notice for non-payment of rent? I'm confused. Did they get a 60-day to vacate? Did you give them a 30-day to get out? Help me here, honey. But I'm going to tell you regardless, you've actually now been given active knowledge, so now you need to react. So I would be sending a workman there with a notice to enter to identify the problem. Okay? So now that they've told you there's a problem, whether you're evicting them or not, you still need to remedy upon notification. So you want to fix it once you're notified. That's the best way I could describe it to you. And my theory is this, you guys, and hear me out. When you're talking about habitability issues, fix it yesterday. Don't wait for tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow, you don't get any rent money. Wait, what? When you're dealing with a habitability issue, they don't owe rent until it's fixed. So wait a minute, Patty. Let me ask you a question, hypothetically. Tenant calls me and tells me that they moved into the house and there's no screens on the property. There's no window screens. Okay? Okay. And they bring it to my attention in November. In January, they stopped paying the rent. And my thinking is, they don't need to open the window. It's freaking cold outside. Right? So I don't fix them until May. And they stop paying rent. So I evict them. Only we get into eviction court and they cry habitability issues and they cry window screens. And now where am I? No rent's owed. Whenever a tenant notifies you of a habitability issue, fix it today. Don't wait for tomorrow, because once they notify you, the rent's not owed until you fix it. Okay? So it's kind of hard to evict somebody for non-payment of rent if the rent's not owed. Ooh. Okay, so be careful. And now I'm being questioned and I got to make sure I answer this. It depends on how you draw the line at one screen versus all screens. And I was using Windows screens as an example because a lot of landlords in here don't know that that's a habitability issue. A lot of landlords don't realize that window screens are a reason for them to withhold the rent. So's a mailbox key. Patti, why are you telling us these things? Because they're breaches of warranty to provide habitable premises that a lot of landlords are unaware of. Yeah, we know it's chipping and peeling paint. Plumbing issues. Let me address them. No hot water, lack of water pressure, leaky faucets, drippy faucets, stopped up drains, slow drains, anything to do with plumbing that's a problem is most likely a habitability issue. Heater is definitely a habitability issue. AC is not a habitability issue at this time unless a certain city has an ordinance for it. Examples, probably going to be Palmdale, Lancaster's probably going to have an ordinance for AC as being a habitability issue. They're not saying you have to have it, but if you have it and it breaks, you have to fix it or they don't owe the rent. I know it's a habitability issue in Indio, Barstow, and Palm Desert. And I saw more questions coming in. I'm trying to get back to them. I'm not real good at my thing today. Don't ask. I don't know. I'm having a blonde moment. There we go. I got it. I figured it out. Okay, now I'm back there. One burner on the stove or all burners on the stove? If the oven doesn't work, it's a habitability issue. If one burner on the stove doesn't work, I would fix that as soon as I possibly could. If all of them are out, you got a bigger problem. I don't, one burner on the stove, fix it. No joke. No joke. Fix it. Don't even play with this. I heard that if you have one Section 8 tenant, that the whole building has to meet the notice requirements. Is this your understanding? Thanks. Thank you to who shared timestamp last week. I have used it a ton this week. Don't know what you're talking about. Blue, go lay down. I'm sorry, my dog's being obnoxious. Just hang on. Go lay down. Yeah. You go over there. Sorry. Let me explain what Arlene's talking about, okay? What Arlene's talking about is subject to the CARES Act. You go, Allie. Teamwork. That's why I built this, you guys. So we as an army and a team could come back with factual knowledge and experience behind us, okay? I love that we're all able to help each other out. That just makes my day. That's why I built this. Okay, blonde moment. Let me take a deep breath because the dog is doing obnoxious things on the other side of the camera. If you only knew. Blue, stop it.
You said blue.
She's being obnoxious. You guys just can't see her. And I'm not turning the camera around because nobody needs to see that on Wednesday. Okay. All right. Let's get back to questions and get back to what we're yapping about. Yes. Thank you, Ollie. hang on. Does the tenant need to provide evidence of an issue or simply say that there's an issue? Well, Sydney, here's my experience, okay? And please listen to me to learn. Don't judge me, okay? I learned early in property management, never believe an owner and never believe a tenant. Go look for yourself, okay? When I got out of property management and got into upper management, that got extended to never believe a vendor and never believe an employee. Go look for yourself. Okay, so here's my theory, and we have some great examples of it today. Somebody is evicting someone or asking them to leave, and they're screaming, "Oh, we have mold." That's a common defense to asking someone to vacate the property. I'd immediately send somebody out there to identify the mold, deal with the mold, and find out whether it's tenant caused or the owner's problem. Wink, wink. Ha! There's a key factor. Also, you have to remember one thing when it comes to mold. Mold usually affects people that have allergies to it. You and I could walk in a house and you can be completely fine and I'm gasping for air. It affects the respiratory system. Usually people affected by mold are in the hospital on a ventilator. Okay? It's not, oh, my kids are sick and it's because of the mold. No, they're sick because of boogers. Okay? And germs, and kids share. And they shared with you and now you're sick. But
Patty,
mold affects the respiratory system. Yes, sir.
yeah, a quick question. Whenever you hear the word black mold, everybody panics and they go crazy. Give me one or two lines about it. What is exactly going on? I know it's a pathogenic, it's bad, it's all that, but I want to hear from you what you are going to say. Thank you.
Whatever. Black mold's black mold. I mean, God only knows if you go swimming in a swimming pool without enough chlorine and dry off with a towel and leave it wadded up in a corner with no ventilation, you might get a mildew smell. It might grow mold spores. Okay? You playing along? It can happen with anything. It just needs the perfect conditions. I went to a class at PRC and Freddie, he's real good over there at PRC. He said, I could make it rain inside this office. If I can control the humidity and the temperature enough in this office, right here in this office building, I can create so much condensation with controlling the temperature and the lack of ventilation. I can make it rain right here in this office. And, it really opened my eyes to mold and how bad mold is. I've taken a lot of mold courses in my life. And here's what I've learned. That toxic mold everybody is so scared of because it kills people usually is formed off of a dead carcass. Okay? So let me give you an example. And please don't go all gross on me because I know some of you went there because we're all property managers. Let's say that there's a dead mouse in the wall. Okay, no big deal, right? It's not going to stink too bad. It's a small thing. But if it gets mold on it, it could get the bad mold because now we have a toxic thing going on with the decaying carcass. And that's where black mold is a problem. And please call it toxic mold because it has a better ring to it. Black mold is usually annoying because it spreads like it's airborne. It's an airborne pathogen. So it's an airborne spore. So it can be transferred through the air. It can go from unit to unit. It can stick to your walls and look like 3D leopard wallpaper in a matter of 24 hours. Mold isn't a joke. Tenants use it as a defense, and nine times out of 10, the mold that we find in a property is due to lack of ventilation, improper housekeeping, or failure to report a leak. All three of those things are most likely tenant charges. Playing along? They use it as a defense because it's scary and it scares the crap out of all of us. Stop being afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. Take some mold classes. I know Agla's talking about doing some mold classes, and I'm talking with them. I want to do them with them. PRC does them. They do them on mold, lead-based paint, asbestos. These are all things that affect our industry, you guys. We should know exactly what can hurt us in our own business. Okay? I mean, I even at one point was a lead-based paint certified renovator with that Environmental Protection Agency. In fact, you can probably go look my name up on their list. Why did you do that, Patty? Because if you're going to manage property that was built pre-1978, you better know what you're doing because those fines are atrocious. They're $78,000 a day. Okay? This isn't a joke. It's a matter of time before they do something else with mold. I don't think so, because nine times out of 10, it is due from the tenant failing to report a leak, improper use of ventilation, or improper housekeeping. And you know, we all laugh. Patty, what do you mean improper ventilation? Well, look at it this way. If you have a bathroom with a window and they never open the window and air it out, that's improper ventilation. So the mold, the mildew, all of that becomes tenant caused damage. Playing along? Okay? If they never open the window to air out, I mean, it's kind of gross when you think about it. What if somebody goes in there and goes to the bathroom? Okay, we're all humans. Okay, we're all human beings here. And if there is somebody in here that's not human, get out of my webinar. Okay? I call it a fart fan in the bathroom. The exhaust fan, okay? I call it a fart fan because you turn it on, it's supposed to suck up the stinky air, right? It don't work. It's supposed to be for humidifying, to dehumidify in there because there's no window, right? They now make fart fans, and I know that's not what they're called. It has a name, and if David's in here, I know he'll tell me the right name because he doesn't want to hear me call it a fart fan. But it has, and it's an evaporative exhaust fan. There you go, evaporative exhaust fan. And they now make those with humidity sensors in them that aren't hooked to a switch, so your tenant can't turn it off. Oh, they're expensive, but so's remediating mold. Just saying. Okay? Don't fear it. Address it. Does the tenant need to provide evidence? They can just say there's an issue, but I'm telling you to go look because once they tell you, you have active knowledge. You have a responsibility to remedy upon notification. Once you have active knowledge of something, you should correct it. It's the right thing to do. What if that was your daughter in that house? Just saying, okay? All properties in California are required to have an air conditioner or any kind of cooling system. I think that should say our properties, not all properties. And the answer to that question is not at this time. Okay? Not at this time. Under California Building and Safety Code, heating is a requirement, but air conditioning is not. They keep threatening all of us that it's going to be a requirement. And I'm telling you right now, I can tell you when it's going to become a requirement. How do you know that, Patty? Because I know when they can change the building and safety laws. And that's not until January 1st of 2028. Once they change the building and safety law, January 1st of 2028, they're going to require us to get air conditioners. Mark my words. They're talking about it now because they're trying to prepare you for it. But they're not going to be able to implement it until they can change the building and safety codes. And to the best of my knowledge, they can't change that particular code language they're trying to change until January 1st, 2028. And that's off the top of my head. Don't quote me to any of that, please. But please understand what I am trying to tell you. Yes, there's a lot of talk about them forcing us to put in air conditioners in LA, in hot areas. We're under global warming, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, when they can implement that is probably going to be in 2028. So get ready. Will window units suffice? I get asked this a lot. I don't know. I haven't seen the law yet. They haven't written it, you guys. We're forward thinking way too far ahead. Okay, let me get forward. exhaust fan. There we go. But it's called an evaporative because it helps evaporate. It helps with the evaporation of moisture. So it's an evaporative exhaust fan. And see how that's got too many E's or something, and it doesn't come out of my mouth easily. I apologize. And if I offended anybody with the word fart fan, again, I apologize. Here is a sad story for me. Oh no, Val. I had a tenant just move out. My crew goes in on Monday and the entire house smells like mildew. Oh no. They discovered the crawl space was flooded. We believe the tree roots uplifted the sidewalk to change the incline so the rain was seeping directly into the house. We could have quickly rented to someone, but now everything is on hold to the jack up and the concrete and replace a bunch of stuff. Obviously, no notice from the tenant that the house stunk, so lost the potential tenant because this will take a few weeks at least. Hang on, Val. You had a tenant that vacated that was in possession because of this issue and didn't tell you? If that's the case, this could be unreported damage that the tenant didn't notify you of, so you could have rectified it. Do they have insurance? I think you know where I'm headed. What if you sent in several contractors to check the mold and no one can find the mold? Do you have an air quality test done? You don't want to send in contractors, okay? People that can legally identify mold are, and don't do this, just listen to me for knowledge, the Department of Health. Do not call them. Do you understand? Code enforcement. Do not call them. Do you understand? And a licensed industrial clinical hygienist, AKA having it tested. Let me explain something to you. And I've taken a lot of mold classes, so I'm just sharing the knowledge I've obtained, okay? When it comes to testing for mold, mold's around us every day. I mean, it's in the food we eat, cottage cheese, yogurt, cheese in general, okay? I mean, some of us drink fermented tea. That's mold, you guys. Kombucha is mold. It's moldy tea that is fermented to the point where it's actually carbonated itself. Okay? That's what kombucha is. And somebody out there is going, Patty, are you serious? I've been drinking moldy tea. Yeah, sorry. That's what that is. It's moldy tea. There's mold all around us every day. It travels also with the weather, I'm sure you could imagine. So we had a lot of recent rains, right? We're going to have a lot of mold spores in the air outside because we've had heavy rains recently. Does that make sense? So if you test after a heavy storm, your exterior mold count is going to be high. It depends on what your interior mold count is. So look at it this way, and I'm just giving you a number, okay, and just throwing it out there. If you test the inside of your house and it is at 10 million micrometers or whatever measurement they use, and you're like, oh my God, that sounds horrible. And you test outside and outside is 30 million micrometers, then your house doesn't have a lot of mold in it, does it? Outside does, but we're all outside, right? We breathe out there. You see what I mean? So a mold air test can vary based on the weather. Ah, I got you, Patty. I understand. If you do a mold test, make sure you do one inside and out. The reality is you keep calling contractors to look for the mold. Stop it. Contact the restoration company. Contact the mold expert. If you contact Yomara at PRC Restoration Company in Carson and tell them that you're a member of Widget's Way, she'll go out there for free and let you know if there's mold at the property. Yeah, I said free. Sometimes I come with perks, okay? So PRC Restoration Companies ran out of Torrance. I'm sorry, I misspoke. They ran out of Carson. They cover the whole entire LA County. and they have a 1 hour response time roughly. And they will do a free assessment for a Widgets Way member. You just got to tell Yomara you're a Widgets Way member. And if anybody needs her cell phone number, please let us know. Just tell us and we'll type it in the chat. I'll ask Arlene or somebody to do that for me. And I'm going to keep going. But you need to have it tested inside and out. Where do you get the date, or how do you know when the building codes change? Everybody wants to know this. How do I explain this? It has to do with bureaucracy and bullshit. Okay? So sometimes when they make certain laws, they have sunset clauses in them. When those sunset clauses expire, then they can change them. But until then, they can't. Make sense? That's the best way I could explain it to you. You were not notified and there was no insurance. But do you hear what I'm saying, Val? If the house is getting flooded underneath and it's flooding underneath the house, the tenant has a responsibility to notify the landlord of the problem at the property, not just to move out in the middle of the night. I would put that as tenant damage. We'll see if we get a response that says, yeah, you're on the right path of tenant caused damage. PRC Restoration Company teaches a class on mold. Also, your apartment association, AGLA, teaches classes on mold, lead-based paint. There's one other. Hold on. It's 3. Why can I not think of the third one? Asbestos. Sorry, I had to go through the alphabet in my brain. Could you please share the information on the restoration company? Yes, it is Yomara at PRC Restoration. And any one of my members that knows Yomara, has used Yomara, could you please put her?
It's in there already, Patty.
Thank you, Lovey. I'm just not that far. Look at, I love all my peeps. Mwah. You guys are all like a bunch of property managers and landlords or something, you know? They were great. They were fast. I've never had a complaint. They don't talk to your tenant. I've trained all of their employees not to speak to your tenant other than cordial things. They actually leave the property and go out to their work truck to contact you, the owner, to talk to you about the problem. They don't do it where the tenant can hear them. I've done really, really hard work to work with them about that so that they don't mess up. Because let's face it, one of the biggest things that we have as landlords and property managers is we don't want the plumber to go there and tell the tenant what's wrong or that this is my fault. And we don't want the so-and-so person to go tell them this, right? So I've trained PRC's employees to keep their mouth shut and their eyes open. In fact, they will actually contact you and tell you you have a bigger problem. Your tenant may have a hoarding issue or something along those lines. So if they see something really bad, they will reach out to you. Yes, you guys just tell them that you are a Widgets Way member. Free assessment, 1 hour turnaround. They're awesome. They deal with, and I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but it happens in our industry. So suck it up, okay? They deal with fires. They deal with floods. They deal with pack outs. Example, there was a flood at the house and we have to pack all the tenants out. They pack out the tenant stuff and store it in their secured warehouse. No joke. They do an amazing job. They work directly with your insurance company, so you don't even have to talk to the insurance company. They're awesome. Look at it this way. Restoration companies are a dime a dozen, and I found one I'm shoving down your throat. There's a reason. Okay? There's a reason. Hi, Patty. This is about maintenance requests. I'm just wondering if you know something about Latchel. Is this a program? Help me. What is Latchel? I don't know if it's a third-party program that's paying rent. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. If anybody else knows, let me know. Is it an app? Help me. They're coming up with so many interesting things to help us. Going back to the credit reporting, can't the tenant just say they got tired of paying for it and opted out and blame the landlord on a habitability issue? Absolutely, Julia, but can't you read between the lines? So I'm playing devil's advocate. Yes, that could happen. Yes, absolutely. But it's painting a picture for us that we're going to use against them. Somebody's going to say, hey, you didn't report these 3 months, so you probably didn't pay your rent on time. And they're going to say, you can't assume that. And then they're going to X the problem. You see what I mean? It's just going to forward think it out of how it's going to backfire, is all I'm saying. Even if they pay late, the landlord still has to report positive payment. It won't show as a late payment according to AOA. Well, I think that it's going to report positive months. And then what? It's going to report a positive month if they didn't pay positive? No. Again, I don't think they thought it out. Yes, it is very misleading. Maria, does anyone know of a good handyman to help with issues on overall property maintenance in LA County? LA County is a big place, baby. Narrow us down. Are you talking in the beach cities in the South Bay? Are you talking in the Valley? Are you talking in the high desert? How would you guys break down LA? Because I'd break it down by South Bay, you know, Redondo, Manhattan, Hermosa, the South Bay area, the beach cities, you know, the South Bay. West LA. There we go. Anybody have a handyman in West LA they can help her out with? Remember, you guys, handyman can work up to $1,000 and not be licensed. Anything over $1,000 requires a licensed contractor. That amount went up from $500 on January 1st of this year. It was one of our law changes. She needs some handyman for Downey and Los Angeles unincorporated area. Check with AGLA and see who they have. Our apartment association is always a great resource. I know because sometimes you guys, I answer their phones, especially if they're having a meeting or doing something like that. Sometimes I answer their phones and we get new vendors all the time. They're like, hi, I'm a new vendor. I want to be a new vendor. I want to do house cleaning. This is my area. So I know they get new ones all the time. That's why I'm consistently sending you back there to check with them, because that's where I go. So the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, also known as AGLA, AAGLA, covers LA County, San Bernardino County, and Riverside counties. No, I said that wrong. I apologize. They do not cover Riverside County. CalRIA does. They cover Ventura County, Ventura, LA, and San Bernardino. They're one of the largest nationally affiliated apartment associations in Southern California, and they do a great job, especially in the LA ever-changing minutia. All right, anybody else have questions? Let me pull back up our questioning thing so I can actually read them. Oh, here we go. People are giving out. Does that mean my unlicensed plumber can be used as a handyman for plumbing repairs? It means your unlicensed plumber can be used as a handyman for work up to $1,000. Over $1,000, you will need a licensed contractor. You guys are getting roofers. You guys are getting all kinds of stuff. Patty, do you have a property management company I can hire? Absolutely. What city? Long Beach. Yep, sure do. Send me a text message after this and I'll put you in contact with somebody that covers that area. Long Beach has their own bureaucracy and bullshit, just so everybody knows. And the dog is snoring.
Oh, I can hear the baby.
And she's all crashed out over there.
I miss having a dog. Oh.
She is snoring. People ask me, who's snoring? And I'm like, that's a dog. It really is a dog. Julia, what's the verbiage you put on your credit requirements for no gaps in rental payment history? So you're understanding, Julia, this whole thing with the credit reporting that's going on. This is new, you guys. There's no case law. Breathe, dog. I was getting worried. I think she needs a CPAP machine. No joke. Sometimes she stops. And I'm like, is she going to start again? Is that going to continue? One day I saw her actually sit up on the couch and go, and then go, and I was like, oh, wow. What is that? Like sleep apnea for dogs? That's crazy.
How old is Blue now?
Blue's 7.
Ah, still a baby.
He's a baby. These dogs are so inbred, not by me, okay, but they're just so inbred, and it causes them so many health issues. They are really cute because they're all wrinkly and pudgy, but the poor dog can't scratch her own butt. I mean, can you imagine not being able to reach anything? I'm just horrible. So they do have their own problems. It sounds like a grown man snoring, don't it? All right. Long Beach. Call a better property management company. Yeah, I've talked to them for a while. I haven't talked to her in a long while. Yeah. I haven't talked to them in a hot minute, but yeah, I have a management company that can help in Long Beach. It's very familiar with Long Beach's bureaucracy and bullshit. Also, Long Beach is on the bicuspid of San Pedro. San Pedro is subject to LARSO in some areas. Yeah, even areas of Wilmington are considered RSO. I remember back in the day, this is me dating myself and aging myself, there was an area on the backside of on the backside of the front side of Palos Verdes, on the way to San Pedro over there, where there was a bunch of project houses built back in like the 80s, if I remember right. I don't know if they're still there. But I could see why that area would develop higher rental protections because there's a heavy concentration of them there. Wherever there's a heavy concentration of tenants, you're going to see a heavy concentration of rules protecting them. That makes sense? I'm not shocked when I see that San Diego is implementing huge rent control initiatives. And I'm like, yeah, drive through the city sometime. They got houses stacked on houses out there. It's insane. No wonder. That'll be my guess of the next place that really gets hit with it in the surrounding cities within the county of San Diego. But the city of San Diego has implemented rent control similar to the city of Los Angeles. And in Orange County, Santa Ana has implemented rent control that is, you must, and I read this and about fell out my chair, provide the city's rent control board, whatever they call themselves at the city of Santa Ana, a copy of all written documentation between you and your tenant from the date of inception, so when they sign the agreement, till now, no matter how long ago that was. They want all of your documents in writing, all of your written communications.
It's just unbelievable. I mean,
What if you forget to give them something? I'm just talking out loud, okay? What if you forget to give them something, okay? And you get into court and you want to use that document and they say you can't because you never gave it to the city.
yeah, I don't understand how they get away
what
with
if it's something from like 10 years ago where their brother moved out? So why give it to them? It doesn't matter. Their brother moved out. It's irrelevant, right? He's not there anymore. And because you didn't give it to the city, you can't use it against him. And now he wants his deposit back. I mean, it just, the ludicrous things that could come about because of that are just insane. Insane. Okay, let me go back to my notes and then I'm gonna talk to you guys for a little bit. I see that's insane. Yes, it is, Sydney.
Does anybody else think that eventually the only people who are going to be able to make money as landlords are going to be like organized criminals because they just will bribe and use violence to intimidate tenants because there'll be no other way to make money renting housing? I mean, it's getting it is really getting insane.
All I can keep telling all of you is look at New York. And I hate to use it as an example, but it's a great example. There was a heavy, heavy population of tenants there, and they implemented very, very strict rent control. So strict that people didn't want to own properties there anymore, and they sold their properties or lost them to foreclosure. From what I understand, a lot of those properties in the Bronx and so forth are not owned by individuals, but owned by the city themselves. Wait, so the city's providing the housing? Yep. In some of those cities, landlords can't afford to be landlords, so the cities now control the housing. Like in the Bronx, most of those apartment buildings are owned by the city.
Yeah, well, property values are down 30 to 40%.
Well, nobody wants to buy there because you can't do business there. You could buy there and live there if that's what you choose to do. But as far as using it for investment, property, and income profitable, forget it. I mean, look at it this way. How do you buy a new water heater if you can only raise the rent 4%? If 4% is only $40 a year, how do you buy them a new water heater? You can't. It's extremely frustrating what the powers that be have done. And it's funny because they say, oh, they did it to protect the tenants. Bullshit. When you sit down and talk to most of these tenants, they don't want rent control. When you actually sit down and talk to them, they don't want it because they understand how that makes it so a landlord isn't providing preventative maintenance, let alone doing necessary or agreed upon repairs. They can't afford to. I'll stop bitching. Sorry. I know we're all on the same page reading the same book, and I'm just ranting. And it shouldn't be me the one ranting. It should be all of you. But at least you know, hey, I'm a landlord. I got skin in this game, you know? Does anyone have an idea of what glue or product can hold sidewalk reflective house numbers? Thank you. What kind of glue or product to hold sidewalk reflective house numbers?
You know how they typically just paint them on? I just wanted to stick them on, but
Yeah.
I put them on, but they're not sticking. I mean, they're
No.
not staying.
Are you talking about painting it on the curb?
Yeah, I didn't want to paint it. I just wanted to, I had reflective numbers I was just putting on, but they're not sticking.
Yeah, I have no idea, honey. I don't know. I think the city is in charge of that. If the numbers need to be repainted, call them, tell them.
No, I think you have to do it yourself.
Really?
Yeah, there are people that come around and do it, but
Oh, girl, just buy some white paint. As
Yeah.
bright white. I'm being, because it's not reflective paint. It's just white.
no, it's reflective paint.
Is it? I don't think it's reflective because when
Ah.
you shine your headlights, all those things all the way down the street don't pop up at you.
Hmm.
I don't think it's reflective. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm 90% sure it is not. And 95% sure it is not reflective paint. It's just white and black. That's all. Because if it was reflective, think about it. When you pulled up at your street at night, you would be able to see all those little street
Yeah.
numbers painted on the street all the way down the block. And none of us can say that we see that, right? I don't see that. Sorry, I have a photographic memory. So everybody right now is rewinding their brain to when they drove down their street in the dark last. And they're wondering, did everybody's street number light up on the street with my headlights? No, it didn't. I don't
No.
think it's reflective. Yeah, I think we're fine with just white and black, baby.
Yeah, we get somebody that comes and do it, and then they do the whole street, and then they ask for a donation of, but they tell you how much. It was $20 before, so it probably went up.
Oh, goodness. Go buy some black and white paint. It is not reflective. That I know for a fact. Because I'm thinking about all the times I drive through neighborhoods in general in the dark. And not like I'm on the street all the time, you guys. I don't want to sound like that. But the more and more I think about it, yeah, Arlene, it is not reflective in any way, shape, or form. It is just white and black paint.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Security funds held in a no interest bearing account wanted to convert to an interest bearing account. Yeah. How is 0.1%? How can we get 4.23%? Yeah, right. What specific bank paperwork is required to give a notice to tenants that security funds are in a non-interest bearing account? Are they in LA RSO? Because if they are, you have to give interest back to them every year on their deposit. Whether you hold it in a non-interest bearing account or not has no relevance. You still have to pay them for the interest that the city says you have to pay them for.
I just moved funds. Schwab has like a money market thing that you can have access to it after 24 or 48 hours, and they're paying like a little over four and a half right now.
Okay,
So I put all the security deposits in there.
there you go. Teamwork.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I was able to find there, I'm sure there are others, but I found at Schwab that they have an account that you can put your funds in, and it pays, it's paying right now, it varies, but I think it was like 4.35 or some 4.4% to try to cover that new 4.23 or 32 that LA is going to be requiring on RSO stuff this year.
Thank you.
Schwab must like you better than me. Oh, goodness. The rental agreement I use has a place to check whether the deposit is in a separate account or not. I do not. Val, you're not required to, so leave it in a non-interest bearing account just so everybody knows what we're talking about. Security deposits should, for the most part, they're held probably in a non-interest bearing account. You have to disclose that to the tenant. Why? Why do you have to disclose that to the tenant? Because if you're making money off of their deposit, that's wrong. Got it? Makes sense? That's their money, not yours. And you're holding it for them. So if you're making money off of that, it's wrong. Unless you have to pay them interest annually. Then it's okay if you make money at it because you got to offset your expenses. But for the rest of us that are non-RSO and do not have to pay the tenant interest on their security deposit annually, it's garbage, okay? For those of us, we just keep it in a non-interest bearing account and go from there. Somebody is stealing my mail. Hang on. Oh no, they're not stealing my mail. I'm going to come back over here, sit down and shut up. It's a white truck and they're not stealing my mail. They're in front of my neighbor's house and I thought they were stealing my mail. It's not mail, it's code enforcement. No, it's not my house. It's across the street, but it's in front of my mailbox. So now I'm being nosy. Oh, he getting out of the car.
Hey, Patty, remind me, does the interest apply to
Okay.
everything in LA City, including like JCO that aren't RCO? I mean RSO?
Say that one more time.
Do you have to give interest to non-RSO, like the just cause properties we just had to register?
Not at this time.
Okay.
You
I'm
guys,
sure it's only a matter of a few days till the city council decides it. because it's not fair.
I'm keeping my mouth shut because as of today, only Larso is required to give back interest on the deposits. DCBA, LAHD are not. For everybody else in the state of California outside of LA County, this does not apply to you in Southern California. DCBA does not have this at this time. It is only in LARSO, not in DCBA, not in LAHD. Okay? And if you're outside of the county, the chances of this applying to you doesn't compute. Okay? So it's just for Larso at this time. It'll be a matter of time before the DCBA implements it. I mean, they're run by the same corrupt organizations, right? Let's just call it what it is. Val for, oh, it's a message to Val. I won't read it out loud. How make that come back? You guys should see me. I'm all neat on my screen. And I pushed the wrong button again. It's okay. I'm all right. All right. Now I can see it. JCO is the next rent control in LA. Yeah, I agree. And it'll be ran by LAHD. You watch. Val, whose rental forms are you using? That's Patty being quiet. You guys see that? There's Patty being quiet. I'll be quiet. All right. Anybody else have anything else for me?
I do.
What you got? Hurry up, because I got a lunch date today, girl.
Oh, nice. I know that AGLA has their own lease agreement, and I also saw Dennis Block's lease agreement that he posted on his website. So I wanted to merge both of them and make a baby to have it like super ironclad. And I did that. Can I send it to you to look at for me to see if it's okay?
Dennis Block and AGLA?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you combined?
Yeah.
Have you looked at a CAR lease or a CAA lease?
That's the real estate car ones?
CAR or CAA, which is the California Apartment Association.
I have not seen those. I'm just afraid of not checking the right boxes when I have, because I have those for all of my other people, but this is for like the midterm that I'm doing.
I understand what you're saying. I would look at CAA.
Okay.
If you don't find what you want with AGLA or Block, I'd look at CAA.
Okay. I like both of them. I just merged them and created a baby.
Here's the problem though. If you missed one of those legal clauses in the back that has all that freaking verbiage we don't understand and isn't in simple English.
Mm-hmm.
So some of us leave it out of our clauses. It's those clauses that help protect us in the overall that we don't understand. So
Okay.
when you eliminate those or combine those, now you're asking me, do you see what I'm trying to say to you? Sometimes it hurts you. It doesn't help you.
Hey, can I
Please,
mind if I
Chris,
chime
thank
in?
you. Chris, please, thank you.
So I don't know if everybody's figured out, but I'm an attorney. I'm just not your attorney. That's what I was told to say. But generally, there's a maximum like contract construction where the person who drafted the contract, it's kind of ambiguities are held against you. So in a weird way, you're actually better off using boilerplate form pieces because, Your Honor, I did the best I could. I'm just using, industry standard. I didn't specifically draft this clause. So myself, like I'm 96, 95% CAA form, and then like the addendum, I made my own addendum for like the whatever the LA City renters' rights thing is, like acknowledging that they received it and that it was posted. A couple other like addenda where I'll put a little bit of a very small amount of language, or like, no hot tubs allowed, no jacuzzis or hot tubs allowed, no prohibitions. So that might,
Sometimes Sometimes
Yeah.
when we start changing rules, and let me give you guys an example, and Chris, you can say, yeah, exactly. That's what happens. So you got to be careful. Look at it this way. If you have a lease or a rental agreement and it has an umbrella clause in there about damages the tenant clause, the causes, it's written very specifically to cover all damages that the tenant causes, their guests cause, or anything like that, okay? So when you have an addendum that says in the kitchen, you can only use stainless steel cleaner on the stainless steel appliances. You can only use granite top cleaner on the countertops. You can't set anything hot on the countertops. You can only use no sticky back shelf paper, no nails. You can't hang anything on the interior or the exterior. Are you guys following along? You can't fart in this house. Okay, when you make a list that has all these rules of things that you can't do, what you're doing is making it more restrictive. If it's more restrictive, it's going to be what controls. If you forgot to put it on there, you're going to be in a bad position.
Okay.
In other words, stop trying to practice law. Use the boilerplate. It's there for you for a reason. And you know all those addendums you want to add that they can't do anything and they can't do this and they can't do this? Stop trying to do that. That's where everybody gets themselves into trouble. Because when it comes to restrictions, this is what was taught to me. When it comes to restrictions, the restriction that restricts you the most is the one that controls. That's the one that controls. So look at it this way. I live in LA City, but I don't want to be governed by all that other stuff. So if I'm exempt from LARSO, I could be subject to the JCO. If I'm exempt from the JCO, I could be subject to the county stuff. If I'm exempt from the county stuff, then I'm governed by the state. So it's by who's most restrictive. So when you start making an addenda that restricts them from doing things, a lot of times you end up standing on your own feet. Great example of what I just gave you is now the person moves out and they didn't put anything hot on the countertop because they didn't want to break the rules. But they set a 9x13 cookie sheet out of the oven onto the vinyl floor and it burned a hole in it. Now, can you charge them? Because it didn't say anything about setting hot things on the floor. See what I mean? When it comes to you trying to figure out how to protect yourself, it's over your pay grade. There's a reason why they have boilerplate things in there. And I know you want something ironclad, but it doesn't exist.
Also, it changes too. It frankly changes too fast. Like you can't keep up with it. Even if you'd have to be on it constantly, and it's just way easier to let.
Even if you're an attorney.
Yes. Even AGLA or CAA or probably even CAR, although I haven't looked at them in a while.
Stay away from CAR. I don't like them. There's too many boxes and it leaves too much room for human error.
Right. But at least they're, continuously drafted and updated by a team of attorneys instead of trying to do it yourself.
Yeah, don't
it's
try
just too
to
much.
figure
It's too much work. It changes too much now.
Don't try to figure this out on your own.
Between the cities, the county, and the state, it's just
there's
too much.
Thank you, because I was going crazy trying to figure something out. And I was using the CAR forms and I don't like them. And I wanted to make it so CAA.net is where I go.
CAAnet.org.
Yep. Okay, I'm here. I will use this. I'm signing up now.
It's expensive.
Yep, I know.
Okay. All right, but you understand the why.
The online forms actually I haven't mastered it, but I'm pretty good at it. And I have to say, it's very nice when you have you have your tenants already in there and you just have it auto-populate like a 40-page lease or whatever. So you double check it and whatever, but it's way easier. Even if you still want like old-fashioned signatures, it's way easier.
Yeah, it takes about 10 minutes to create an 87-page lease packet for me through their portal. 87-page lease packet in about 10-15 minutes for me.
Perfect. Okay, so if I go here and I download everything, because I use Turbo Tenant to have them DocuSign everything, and that's how I charge them. So I can get it here, upload it to my Turbo Tenant, and then there they can DocuSign everything.
That should be compatible. I don't want to advise you. I'm not a techie person. That's my kid.
All right. And then I don't need, if I do it through here, I also don't need to individually download all of the extra disclosures from AGLA.
CAA is going to have all those additional disclosures as well. Hence
Okay.
why my lease packet is 87 pages.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. I need to know how to handle the situation right now. The person who received the 3-day notice to pay rent or quit told the manager that she could not pay her rent and would need to move. That was last week. Yesterday, she mentioned the mold to me. It was the first time I heard of this. I scheduled maintenance to go today at 2 o'clock. We already ordered a new door. There is moisture on the bottom of the door, but we have never seen mold. Now that we replace the door tomorrow, do we need to address her for non-payment or avoid conversation? Any suggestion? My suggestion is repair the problem. Once the problem's repaired, then ask her if she's going to pay on the notice. If she says no, she's not going to pay, even though the repair's done, then I'd move forward. Or I'd talk about cash for keys, depending on what city this is and what the jurisdiction is. Belsey, residing in a property for 2 years in Riverside. Got you. Dogs were allowed. Now the owner does not want pets in the property. How should I handle it? Put a leash on your owner. I'm sorry, but we've allowed them to have pets before. We're not going to tell them to kick out their family members at this point. It would be discriminatory. Please note that they're responsible for any damages that the pets do, and their pets can't be a nuisance. So if they're barking, biting, lunging, striking, destroying, whole different set of facts, that's now a nuisance. Arlene. Thank you for saying that. I can't say anything about the AOA lease. I agree. Do not use your own. The judge won't like it. Absolutely. My tenant damaged the door screen, and the door screen's a habitability issue or just window screens? No, all screens. Your tenant damaged it. You have knowledge. Fix the screen. Bill the expense back to them. If you're in a hurry, please call me later. I have another tenant who broke a shower head and ended up rigging up a garden hose. Now the wall is deteriorating and I need a huge remodel. I'm thinking I should kick the tenant out so I can do the fixing. This will take a while. Yeah, I would. And then you could remodel and either sell while the market's higher, bring it up to market rent. Yeah, I would. Major renovations. Could you please give us the CAA website? Everybody in here is helping. I don't have to do nothing. This is awesome. Their insurance company is no longer covering their pets. Hold on a minute. I understand what you're telling me, Belsey. I got you, baby. Just now let me get in my brain. So, and I need to get up and pace to think this one out because that's how my brain works.
What does the lease say? If the lease requires them to have pet insurance, you might have a basis, no?
That's where I'm headed. So what does the rental agreement or the pet agreement say? Does it say that the tenant must carry insurance on the pets at all times? If that's a provision, that might be where your teeth are, Belsey. Yes, it does. Then send that provision to your legal counsel and ask them if they can pursue eviction. And here's the thing. Do you really want to spend $60,000 to $80,000 to do this? Because that's where we're headed, folks. You get me? I mean, you're gearing up to do an eviction, so you're looking at spending 60 to 80 grand if it's in LA County. So just be cautious of that, okay? But yeah, you most likely could if it says that, depending on how that language is written and how willing your legal counsel is to argue that in court and how much money your owner is willing to spend. Okay, I think that's the bigger picture. All right, you guys, anybody else have any questions? Please say no because I want to go on my date. I have a date. And I kind of want to go be nosy and see if code enforcement put anything in the neighbor's mailbox. I'm that girl, sorry. Hey, at least it wasn't my mailbox. We're good. If it's
Thanks,
my
Patty.
mailbox, no
Thanks, Patty.
problem. Thank you.
Have fun.
All right, everybody,
You
have a
deserve
great
it.
day. I will.
Care.
A girl's got to eat.
Thank you.
All right, you
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye, everybody.
God bless.
Bye.